which leads us to this new book. It's all about the green and gold. It is called If These Walls Could Talk, Green Bay Packers Stories from the Packers Sideline, Locker Room, and Press Box. Wayne Larrivee is the author.
And we're so happy to have him join us here on the Yellow Couch on this Monday morning. It's your first time on the couch.
Not as happy as I am to be here. Really.
Thanks,
this
Wayne.
Is great. No,
That's cute.
I watch you guys every morning because I've got you on. I watch the Today Show. I have it on in the office. I'm usually working in the morning. Your show comes on at 9 o'clock, and it's there, just locked in.
That's
well,
awesome.
It was so fun because you came over to say good morning to us at in our area today, and our tech producer just said his voice is so smooth, like butter. I mean, in person or the airwaves, everything. I mean, did you know as a young child? Because I know you used to go and practice play-by-play and record it yourself and listen it back, but did you always have a great voice?
I did that in college. Yeah. I did that in college.
Always been told, like, your voice is so wonderful for this?
Yeah. I had a good AM voice. A professor once told me that at Emerson College in Boston. You have a good AM voice. I said, well, I guess that's good because that's where the money is, at least at that time. Now there's no money at all, but you know.
It gets funny. What's fascinating is that you grew up in Massachusetts, right? And you became a Packers fan living on the East Coast, and I think part of it has to do with when you grew up.
Well,
in the 60s, those are some golden years.
You're dating me now, Molly. Now, come on. Yeah, but it was the 60s. Those were the golden years, and it was the advent of color TV, and the Packers were the biggest story, Lombardi Packers. And I've gotten a chance over the years to meet and be with many of those guys, and it's always a thrill.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, talk a little bit about your book, because this is a big deal, and inside you share a lot of behind-the-scenes things, including about Favre, which I think right now people are a little nervous about him, because when he's been at Lambeau, a lot of people are saying, we're not doing as well.
Yeah, no.
The Favre curse.
Right?
That's it.
I know.
So
people are saying it.
The Packers will be fine if Brett never comes back to no.
Exactly.
Not at all. But no, it's interesting because a lot of it had to do with Brett Favre in this book. It was very difficult to write that messy. We call the chapter "Messy Divorce." That was very difficult to relive all of that because that was a lose-lose for everybody in that situation that summer. But no, there were so many great memories with Brett too. I mean, the things he did, the magical Monday night game after his father passed away in Oakland. I mean, that was just phenomenal stuff that he did. And it was good to see him. He was with us on the air yesterday on the broadcast. And it was great to see him.
What's something you take away from being in person with him? Because a lot of people don't get that opportunity to ever be side by side with him or really talk to him the way you have.
Tiff, he's just a great guy.
Yeah?
He's the kind of guy you want to sit down and talk for hours with over a couple of beers or whatever, He's just that kind of a guy. His nature puts you at ease with him. And there are a lot of guys, especially superstars like that. You look at, when you're in their presence, you're kind of nervous and all that. Not Brett. Just his presence, his way of going about things puts you at ease. He and his wife, Deanna, just wonderful people. They really are.
I want to go back just 1 second and talk a little bit about coming to the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
I always give you trouble in the halls.
Yeah.
I know you do.
People know that I'm a Bears fan, and I'm always like, you traitor. But I didn't realize until reading, especially the first part of your book, you got a lot of blowback, not surprisingly, about leaving Chicago because you were doing the Cubs and the Bulls and
the Bears.
And the
so
Bears.
loved.
And you were so well loved. And a lot of people were like, why would you leave a city with sports fans like Chicago to come to Green Bay? And a lot of it had to do with really fulfilling a lifelong dream that you had. So I'm sorry I'm always giving you trouble in the house.
No.
Your grief is good.
Every time I run into somebody from Chicago, even my friends, they give me trouble on that. But no, that was the kind of thing. And I didn't think anything of it. I'm not in the business to get adoration or anything like that. But, when I started to bring this thing to fruition, I talk about it in the book, in that, I said, this would, if I ever got the chance to do the Packers, I always just tell my wife and everybody would listen, I'd do that in a minute. I mean, I'd be out so fast. By the time it came time to really make that decision, it became a real tough decision because of what you mentioned, that the people in that market and everyone, it was a tough decision in the end.
I bet.
You talk about a lot of those past stories, including the origin of your original dagger call, which, there's like yourdagger.com. You can get shirts, you can get a ringtone, you can do all these things with your dagger. So where did the origin of it come from?
It's a basketball term. We used to use it on the Bulls, when the teams would go back and forth and somebody would hit a three-point shot in the final seconds and the other team you knew didn't have a chance to come back. That was the dagger. Well,
that was the dagger.
One day, the Packers are playing, they're playing Baltimore, and back and forth game, and Brett Favre hits Bubba Franks with a touchdown pass, puts the Packers up, I think 21 at the time in the fourth quarter, and he said, and there's your dagger. and from there, it started.
I love it.
Now it's MP3s, MP4s, it's everywhere.
I want to talk about Favre real quick and Rodgers because we're running out of time, but related to the Favre thing, you compared him to Michael Jordan and Walter Payton, and your theory is that no great athlete retires easily, goes down easily, or walks away from the game, even if they end up coaching or being announcers, because it's their identity is so closely tied to their sport.
It becomes who they are. And so if they're not in the game anymore, then who are they? They struggle with that. Michael Jordan retired and unretired about 3 times, you know. Walter Payton was never comfortable or happy with his decision to retire. And I think Brett struggled with that as well. It's that love of the game. It's what they've done all their lives, and now it's over, and that's hard. It's easier for the typical player who's going to be told, you're not coming back.
Right.
We're cutting you. Nobody's picking you up. That's actually
Choice is
easier
taken away.
than the superstar who nobody is going to ask to leave.
Did you feel sorry at that time for Aaron Rodgers, and what do you think about his ability to take over where Favre left off, which I think is a tough.
I thought he was, he handled it about as well as anybody could possibly handle. A bad situation that was none of his making in that summer of 2008. And as far as him taking over for Brett, he was ready, and we knew he'd be ready, and I think the coaching staff did as well.
Oh, it was great having you here.
Great being here, ladies.
Do you want to weigh in on our Facebook question, which is, do you think the Packers can win the playoffs?
Sure.
What do you really
Absolutely.
think?
What am I going to say? No, of course, I do.
Because the Vikings have been really hot this year.
I've got Chicago here, and I've got Minnesota here, folks. I can't win.
Well, we asked you on Facebook, first and foremost, so here's the book signing, November 3rd. It's at 6 o'clock. It's at the Barnes Noble in Appleton. You can get a copy of the book prior or at the book signing, but otherwise visit triumphbooks.com/WallsPackers, 2 S's. There you go.
We could have done the whole show with you, Wayne.
I know.
Thank you, ladies.
Let's come back again.
Hey, no, it's wonderful to be here with you. It really was.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Loved having you here.